Welcome, everyone. My name is Tracy Murphy-Poxtis, and this is Good to Great in Under 8, the weekly show for motivated professionals who want to become stronger leaders and get more fulfillment out of their career. So guys, I do record all of my Good to Great in Under 8 shows and have them on my website, tracymurphycoaching.com. So if you go there and check out the Learning Corner, you'll see all the past shows along with some other great resources. So guys, today is part 2 of a 3-part series where I'm talking about the factors that make somebody a great people manager. Now, during last week's show, I shared with you guys that 70% of all US employees are disengaged at work. And the key reason for this disengagement are their managers. 1 in 2 people actually leave their job for the sole reason of getting away from their manager. So again, important guys for us to really focus on how do we become better people managers. And so I also shared with you last week that I did some research and did some checking around and found out that there's really 3 key themes that emerge when it comes to being a great people manager. 1, defining expectations and empowering others, which is what I talked about on last week's show. Secondly, providing timely and actionable feedback, which is what we'll talk about in a minute here today. And then next week, we'll talk about recognizing and really knowing how to activate potential. So, timely and actionable feedback. The reason, guys, we really want to do this is so we can, 1, help our team members build their confidence, and 2, to elevate their performance. So think about it. If you don't feel a sense of confidence in what you're doing, it's not likely you're going to do it well, right? And if you don't have an understanding of how well you're performing today, there's no possible way you're going to know how to do it better or what you need to do it better. And so great people managers get this. And so when you're giving feedback, I'm going to share some tips with you to keep in mind. First thing, be sure that you're giving both positive and developmental feedback. So when I say positive feedback, this is all about building someone's confidence, right? Calling out their strengths, bringing to light their contributions, really helping them understand and feel good about their abilities. Now, this doesn't mean blowing smoke up somebody's butt, right? It's really just about sharing that positive feedback and the contributions that they're making. And then secondly, giving developmental feedback, right? This is the feedback that really helps somebody understand where they're at today and what they need to do to get better. Now, when we talk about developmental feedback, one key thing to keep in mind is that it really needs to focus on something specific, something non-personal, and it needs to come from the place of being supportive and not being shameful, not shaming somebody for doing something wrong, but being supportive in helping them get better. Right? So for example, saying something like, hey, Jane, your quiet disposition is really preventing you from selling your ideas to leadership. Guys, that's not really helpful because it's implying that Jane's personal disposition is the issue. And honestly, 1, that's not true. And 2, it's really likely going to make Jane feel bad about herself. So it's not helping her gain confidence, nor is it giving her something specific that she can work on. So instead, having said something like, hey, Jane, I'd love to share some feedback with you. Is that okay? That's a great way to start, guys. Asking for permission like that really can help remove any kind of emotional charge that people might have. And then it really also helps them get their brain focused on the rational side of things as opposed to the emotional side of things. Then guys, continuing on with something like, Hey, Jane, I know you were disappointed after the last meeting when leadership wasn't comfortable moving forward with your ideas. But I wanted to let you know, that happens. We don't always get all of our ideas approved and aligned to. However, what I'm really seeing, Jane, is there is a great opportunity for you to dial up your influence skills by focusing on how do you want to push forward when you're met with conflict or disagreement? What do you think? Right, guys. So in this case, it's really about acknowledging the challenge the person is facing, being very specific about the developmental opportunity, and getting buy-in from the person to really want to work on that opportunity. Right. And then you can wrap it up with something like, hey, awesome, Jane, can you go ahead and put some time on the calendar and we can talk about how you want to approach it? And then, guys, the last tip I'm going to have for you when you're talking about feedback, make sure it's timely. I mean, imagine the feedback that I was just talking about, right, with Jane. Imagine if her boss didn't give that to her until her annual performance review, right? She might have had 3 or 4 projects that never moved forward because she didn't get that feedback. So it's really key to make sure you're giving someone feedback at a time when they can really use it to do something about it to help elevate that performance. And again, I've said it before, guys, I know some of this stuff seems pretty straightforward, but again, remember, it's not happening out there. So I know we're stressed with everything we've got going on every day, but really try and be mindful of these things when you're given feedback. And you know what? If given feedback isn't your thing and you want some help, definitely reach out. Go to tracymurphycoaching.com, go to the Work With Me page, fill out the form at the bottom, and we will get a conversation started.